Rick, the guy who's covered the NBA forever, Fox Sports NBA analyst. Rick, kind of a snoozer last night in Boston. I'm more interested in the Jaylen Brown spiciness afterward. Did he get jobbed, by the way, on All-NBA?
Not based on, look, the problem that all the Boston Celtics have, and we heard Jason Tatum complain about the same issue, that they didn't have a coach of the year, they didn't have anybody who was in the thick of the MVP race. But it's because they have a vast array of talent, and that generally happens when you have a lot of really good players together, and people have questions about your best players in terms of their ability to come through on a consistent basis. And I don't really think that they got jobbed. If I look at the Eastern Conference and I look at the depth of talent that the Boston Celtics had, I don't know that they have that same record or same standing if they were in the Western Conference. I think they took advantage of the fact that they are very deep, very talented, but in the weaker conference. So, no, I don't think anybody got shorted. Okay. And I'm not going to take one game against the Indiana Pacers by Jaylen Brown as indication of otherwise.
I'm not going to take the bait on Tatum, because anytime we battle over Tatum, my guy Eddie House texts me, Rick is such a hater. Why does he hate? Eddie House obviously watches all the time. Anyways.
Hey, Eddie, get in line, brother.
I do need to ask a legitimate question. Have we ever seen a team with an easier path to the finals than the Celtics, not facing Jimmy Butler, Donovan Mitchell hurt, now Halliburton's hurt? Some of the chatter out of Boston, they don't think he's going to play in Game 3 in Indiana. I mean, listen, it's all lined up for the best team in the league record-wise to get to the finals for the second time in 3 years.
Yeah, no, I scoured the teams that have made it to the finals one way or the other. And I'm just, 2007, the Cleveland Cavaliers went through some less than impressive teams overall. They were either at the beginning of their run or the end. The 2015 Golden State Warriors. But nothing compares to this at this point. And we'll see how that plays out when you get to the finals, and then you do have to play a formidable team if it turns out that way. So sometimes that easy path is not always the best, because you get into a false sense of comfort. And I'll be interested to see if this series becomes still competitive going back to Indiana with or without Tyrese Halliburton. I had the sound muted on the game last night, and so I didn't know why didn't know about the injury. I thought he just wasn't playing in the fourth quarter because he wasn't having any impact whatsoever on the game, which we have seen from Tyrese Halliburton at various times throughout these playoffs. And it's why, on one hand, I still think they can be competitive without him, because they've often had to be with him available, but not being the Tyrese Halliburton that we've seen at times. And on the other hand, I don't know that they have enough to actually win the series at this point because of Boston's depth. They're just a different team. They're a more talented team. They're a deeper team than what Indiana faced against New York, particularly by the end of that series.
All right, let's go from the JV series to the varsity matchup and Dallas, Minnesota, which has been tremendous through 48 minutes. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to start with Luka Dončić, who this week, I got to go to the notes here. He's been compared to better than Larry Bird, better than Dirk Nowitzki, a mix of Bird and James Harden, and I said he has better vision than Magic Johnson. Am I missing anyone? Are we missing any Luka comparisons here? I mean, I don't know what's left to say about the guy. He is superhuman at this point.
And he's won one game in the Western Conference Finals. And we're talking about Magic Johnson, who had how many rings, Larry Bird, who had how many rings. I mean, look, this is what we've gotten into now, where we take guys and we just look at their skill set and we go, oh, this guy is better than this guy. Isn't there a certain degree of having to apply that skill set and actually do something with it before we anoint a guy as being better? That's the missing piece. I appreciate how much Luka has evolved over the course of his career, but I don't remember Larry Bird ever being out of shape.
Oh, come on.
I never recall Magic Johnson being out of shape. I mean, it's taken Luka a beat to get to this point. And the one thing that he has is, look, he's an incredibly cerebral, technical, understands the game. Larry Bird would be torching guys in this era as well. It's the skill sets, the individual skills have certainly risen across the board. But it is a dumbed down version of the game. And because Luka knows the game as well as he does, he's able to do what he's doing. But can we just at least get to the finals before we start talking about guys being greater than guys that have won multiple rings?
Okay.
That's sort of my standard. Okay. Maybe I'm old school in that. Like, you actually have to do the thing before we give you credit for being able to do the thing.
All right. Listen, Rick, you are the number one hater. You don't like LeBron, Tatum, and now Luka. But I'll just say this. We don't have time to, unfortunately, go deep. But Larry Bird played with like 17 Hall of Famers in his time. Luka, okay. Anyways, final question is Anthony Edwards.
I don't hate, by the way, I don't hate either one of those guys, okay? I'm just putting into context what they've accomplished.
30 seconds or less. Anthony Edwards, can he turn it around? Last 4 games, he's not attacking the basket. He's not been the same dude. Are you concerned going forward for Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, look, I expect that he's going to be better and he's going to be more aggressive, but Dallas is going to make him think the game. They're going to make him read and react, both offensively and defensively, and he's going to have a little more of a job at the defensive end that he had in the last series. So while I think he'll be fresher, I do think that he's going to be tested. And then, look, he's 22 years old. He's just learning how to do a lot of these things. I do think he'll be better. I don't think that he's necessarily going to solve the riddle.
Yeah. All right. Ric Bucher, Fox Sports NBA analyst. We love the sparring, Rick. Can't wait for you to drop by next week or whenever it is, and we can celebrate Luka Dončić going to the finals. All right, Rick. Thanks.
You got it.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.